Today's Toy Spot, we are having a look at the brand new Playmates Toys Voltron the Legendary Defender Legendary Red Lion. If you thought Spot was going to avoid not reviewing these, you were sadly mistaken. I definitely wanted to have a look at Voltron, as Voltron was one of my go-to cartoons growing up. The sad part though, and this is the truth sadly of living here in Canada, Voltron toys have not even hit the shelves. I know. And so while other reviewers have had a chance to delve into the new Voltron toys and enjoying them in all their wondrous splendor, Spot ended up having to order these online. So that's unfortunately why I had to wait and get these reviewed. But sure enough, we will be having a look at all 5 lines that's going to build the mighty Voltron. By the way, speaking of, the Legendary series form a 16-inch Voltron, so you can imagine how big this is going to be when it's all said and done. Like the original cartoon, you've got the black line, red line, green line, blue line, and the yellow lion. And we're going to look at the red line first. The back of the package. Voltron, defender of the universe. Long ago, a mighty robot warrior Voltron was created to protect the galaxy from evil. Now 5 young heroes must master the power of Voltron lines to defeat the Galra Empire and restore peace. Legendary Red Line. The fiery red line is incredibly fast as the right arm of Voltron wields the blazing sword. Down below it includes Speeder with Pilot Keith. It also features 20 points of articulation, and when you collect the green line and red line, it forms Voltron's sword. Check out more from Voltron by heading over to www.voltron.com. Check out more from Playmates by heading over to www.playmatestoys.com. Then finally on the underside here, just to kind of give you a sneak peek at the 5 lines that we're going to be looking at here on this channel. Again, the legendary blue line, red line, black line, green line, and finally the yellow line. Spot's going to take a break and finally get these guys opened up. When we come back, though, we're going to start our reviews with the legendary Red Lion. There's more anyway, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. All right, so now that we've got the Red Lion out of packaging, let's have a look at some of the pieces. Then we'll have a look at the lion. Then I'll show you how to put him into his arm mode for the eventual merging together, forming the mighty Voltron. For starters, we're going to look at the little speeder that comes included. Having not looked at the other lines yet, they're still obviously sealed. I would imagine that these speeders are going to be pretty the same for all of these, other than just the swapping out of paint. The paint, not only on the little speeder, but also the lines as a whole, very vibrant and clean. A testament to Playmates that they really put a lot of care into these. They didn't just phone in a Voltron series. Again, the coloring on is quite nice. Nice dark black on the back portion of it. The little dome portions of the speeder nicely in blue, and of course the red to match the line, the red and the black. With the speeder, you're going to want to take, it does house inside the line itself. Just grab the line. Flip it on the underside, and there's a little latch here. Sometimes it's a little difficult to get your finger in there, but you open it up. Take the speeder, and you'll see on the inside it's shaped, the underside here is shaped exactly like the speeder. So you're just going to sandwich it, and it hinges, I don't know if you can see it, but the top portion of the speeder is sticking through the top there. And it doesn't seem to want to go anywhere until you remove it, so that I do like that. And just close up shop, and then you're good to go. The other things that come included with the Red Lion are a back launching missile attachment, and he does also come with, or the Lion does also come with, a launching missile. Simply slide the projectile in, and then there's a little button on the back or on the top here that fires the missile off right onto Spot's floor. Just pick that up here before I lose it. A nice strong firing missile, I also might add. Again, they spared no expense. They didn't just have some wimpy little thing where you flicked it and the missile went onto the surface, only a few spots ahead of it. So a nice firing missile. I like that quite a bit. I'm not necessarily one to display the lions loose. Obviously, much like many collectors, when I eventually get all 5 lions together, I'm going to form Voltron. That's going to be how he's going to be displayed. But you can take the missile attachment here, and it just pegs onto the top here, giving some extra firepower to the red lion. One of the other duties of the red lion is also to hold the blazing sword, which is only half the equation. It's going to now merge up with one of the other lions too to give us a completed sword. I have a little bit of paint, which I think I can probably pick off here on the end of the blade. A nice translucent blue with a black and yellow hilt. Very, very nice. Now what you can also do too with the, like I said, the red lion, you can open and close his mouth, but it is on a spring. So as soon as you let it go, it's going to close shut. You can take the lion and hold the sword in his mouth, like so. You can also hold it in a more closed spot like this, where he's holding it by its handle, depending again on your personal preference. All right, so we'll just put that right to the side. That's going to play a big role later on when we obviously get Voltron starting to put together. We'll put that also to the side as well. And let's have a look at this fantastic looking lion. Voltron has made several efforts to come back into mainstream, some lesser than others. There was a Voltron series that I think was CG that came out a couple of years ago, and it wasn't well received. Truthfully speaking, even though I have only watched, I think I've watched like 2 or 3 episodes of the new Voltron, I love it. And it's just a matter of, it's not by my preference that I'm not choosing to watch it. It simply just boils down to time. Just Spot never seems to have time for anything. But I do want to sit down and finish off the rest of the show. Again, the cartoon looks phenomenal. And I also do really like the design of Voltron. It sticks very much closely to the original classic design of Voltron while still bringing something new to the table. So with that, also what comes with the lions. The lions are a nice updated take to the original Voltron lions that we got before. A nice size as well. Now, Playmates is also releasing a bunch of more gimmick-heavy Voltron toys, where there's even a Voltron that has a swinging, blazing sword and stuff like that. There's also individual lions that each have their own gimmick. But truthfully speaking, while we will be looking at those here and there on this channel, I think for me the real draw is the actual lines that build Voltron. If you're ever going to get a Voltron toy release, definitely need to make them something where they can actually merge together and make Voltron. Because if they don't, then that's the whole purpose of the whole line, is that, you know, the toy should be based on the cartoon, and merging to form Voltron I think is crucial. So let's have a look at the front of the face. Very nicely painted with the white and the red. Even the outlining of the yellow eyes is nicely done here. I don't see really any imperfections, quality control issues, nothing that I can really say for the figure itself, or in this case the lion itself. I was this close to jumping on board the Mattel Voltron's classic series, or whatever the ones they were doing through Matty Collector, and I'm really glad I didn't. While the lines were impressive and the figures were impressive, by the time you actually put Voltron together, he was just a train wreck. And seeing enough reviews made me realize that I did the right thing by not jumping on board that subscription. These Voltron lines, while they are still going to form a 16-inch Voltron, it's still at a manageable state. That 16 inches of Voltron isn't so bad. Anything bigger than that, I think you're now entering into a territory where it's just too much. But a good sized line, I have to admit. Articulation on the lines, they rotate, or in this case, the red line, he rotates his legs back and forth. Everything you'll see on him, for the most part, is ratcheted. So he's got a ratcheted midpoint to the leg, and he's also got a ratcheted lower foot. The front of the head does rotate all the way around. As you can also see, too, he had the spring on the mouth. Yum, 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 yum. It doesn't hinge up and down, which I kind of wish it did, but again, I'm not going to overly nitpick this too much. Now, when it comes to the transformation of his arm, by the virtue of what his arm is going to serve, he does have a ratcheted joint here and a part that rotates here as well, serving again for the purpose of his arm. The tail slightly moves, but it's only by nature of the way it transforms. This slides in when it eventually becomes the arm, but it does have a nice rubbery tail to it. The back portion of his leg, also the same idea, back and forth, ratcheted midpoint of the leg, and not, actually it's funny, The one section that isn't ratcheted, even though it looks like it should be, is the back portion of the legs. This is the only section on the Lion that doesn't seem to have a ratcheted joint, even though it does look like it really should. So first impression of the very first line that we're looking at, love them. Love them. I can't wait to get the other lines reviewed and eventually put Voltron together. So in other words, to put Voltron together, we're obviously going to need to know how to make the line here into the arm. And it's very, very simple. You're just going to take the tail, which should have been fully extended here, and you just want to tuck this into the back cavity here of the Lion. You can do this any which way that you want. There's no sequence where you have to do it exactly the start right to the finish. Take the back legs, fold them in, and just fold them back into the thigh portion of the legs, and you can just bring those forward so they sit somewhat flush to the back portion of the Lion. And from here, it actually kind of looks like RC, Transformers RC. I don't know why I feel that way. Then you can go ahead and take, this is the more complicated part, but it's not complicated when you really start doing it enough times. Take the top section of the Lion, and this hinges up. And what you need to do is you need to kind of fold the legs in. Then you need to push this section. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Take the legs, bring them forward, bring these forward. Do the same on this side, bring it forward. And then it doesn't give you a lot of clearance, so you kind of have to hold the top portion of it. But you need to bring these up, and then these clamp inward. And it's not something that you'll succeed with a couple of times. You might have to do this a good 2 or 3 times practice to get it all in. The hardest part is actually making sure everything fits in, again, around an area that doesn't give you a lot of clearance. Bring the legs all the way in. And you basically want to tuck the legs. See, you have to tuck the feet actually into the cavity here, making sure it's all flush. Sometimes you might have to adjust it a couple of times just to make sure everything is correct. And if it fits, which it did not here in this instance, just bring everything in. Again, you'll have to do this a couple of times. And this should fit into place. Trial and error, it will have to be your friend during this situation, but as you can see, it closes shut. And then you've got yourself a workable arm for Voltron, which will eventually come to place when we review all the other toys. So there's the arm in place. Now we just have to look at the other 4 lines, which of course will come in the next series of reviews. As a whole, really like this toy line so far. May or may not pick up some of the gimmick lions. I'll play it by ear, but the big strike for me on this line is not so much the line itself, but distribution here in Canada. Canada sucks sometimes when it comes to getting toys in stock. A lot of times by the time, if for example you guys see a toy line, you think, well, I wonder why Spot hasn't looked at it yet. It's generally because unless I order them online, I have to wait until they hit toy shelves. Voltron still, to this point, has not hit toy shelves, so for many Canadians, we're going to have to actually order these online. But I would suggest ordering them online if you're a fan of Voltron. These toy lines, or this particular line of the transforming, merging lions. Oh, and also, let's not forget one other step. I want to bring this forward as well. That's your connector point. But as a whole, really great sets. I'm looking forward to reviewing the other lines and eventually building Voltron. Certainly stay tuned for those videos. In the meantime, today's Toy Spot, we're having a look at the brand new Voltron Legendary Defender. This was the Red Lion. Stay tuned, guys. Like I said, Spot's going to have a look at the other 4 lines. Then we're going to build Voltron, so lots more to come. Thanks for watching. See you next time.